Boys and girls, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Prime Video's DC Studios brand new animated show, Batman Caped Crusader. I am so excited for this. If you've known me, if you know me any time of your life for 5 minutes, you know that I am a giant Batman fan. Comics, TV shows, movies, it doesn't matter. I love Batman. Grew up watching the reruns. I'm not old enough to have watched it in its original form, but the reruns of the old Adam West Batman show from the 60s, and Michael Keaton jumping onto the big screen in 1989 and reading the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel, which changed my life and a lot of people's lives who read it back in the 80s, and getting different variations of this character through different medias, whether it was Michael Keaton or Val Kilmer or, oh my God, George Clooney, Christian Bale, and Ben Affleck, and Robert Pattinson in live action. We also got the great Kevin Conroy voicing the character for the animated series, which was a staple of my teenage years. It is truly up there with X-Men the animated series. Those two animated shows were two shows that I consider the best animated shows to ever be put on TV. I don't rank them. I always say 1A, 1B, because those are two well put together, excellent shows that honors their characters perfectly from the source material, which is comic books. And when you think back to Batman the animated series and what spawned off of that, all of the animated movies that came from that show, all of the spin-offs that came from that show, that's when we got Superman the animated series off of that show. We got the Justice League off of that show, Justice League Unlimited. If all that came because of Batman the animated series, so it holds a special place in my heart. And so when this show was announced, I think in 2020 during the pandemic, they announced this, that J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves were producing this. Matt Reeves being the director of The Batman, which stars Robert Pattinson. I was like, okay, let's see what you got. This could either be excellent or it can crash and burn. I don't know if it'll be an in-between. And so we'll see. And, what can they do new? That's where I was interested in. What can we do new? We've seen Batman. I just listed off a laundry list of different Batmans that we have received throughout time and in different media. So what new flavor can you bring to the Batman lore that would draw me in as a Batman fan who knows everything there is about Batman and his villains? Well, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Well, Batman Caped Crusader, this go around, the show offers a darker, kind of a noir inspired reimagining of the Batman lore. It focuses on Bruce Wayne, as he's not new. This isn't an origin story of Batman, thank God, but this is him. It is not Batman year one. I would say it's more Batman year 2 or 3 where this is set. And he's in the early stages of his crime fighting career in Gotham City. And this draws inspiration from a lot of the stories in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. And so this is a real throwback type of show. The voices in this show, we don't have Kevin Conroy. He passed away a couple of years ago, who is the Batman in my eyes. There's no other Batman who played the part perfectly than him, and he just did the voice, but he captured the essence of Batman through his voice. He had the perfect voice for Batman. So much so, not only did he voice him in an animated show, he did in the video games, in the animated movies, everywhere they used Batman, other than live action. Uh, he voiced him. They even snuck him in on, I think it was the Arrowverse when they did the Crisis on Infinite Earths on the CW a few years back, and they went to a different Earth, and Kevin Conroy was Batman in that in that universe. I thought that was cool, even though the show they messed up Crisis on Infinite Earth, but that's another story for another day. But taking over for Kevin Conroy is Hamish Linkletter, who I'm a huge fan of after watching him in Midnight Mass, which was on Netflix. And I was like, man, I need to see more of him. I really loved his performance in that show, and I love that show. And he's taking over as Batman. So I was kind of confused when that was announced. I was like, because I know his voice, and he does not carry a Batman voice, in my opinion. But I can honestly say he did a good job. Now, is he Kevin Conroy? No, because it's not fair to do that. It's not fair to compare him to Kevin Conroy. He's nowhere near. Nobody is nowhere near Kevin Conroy as far as voicing Bruce Wayne or Batman. But I did like Hamish Linkletter's performance. I did like his voice. It fit the character for this show. This Batman, it fit perfectly, I felt. And I think he did a decent job. Now, there were moments, certain episodes where it was iffy. It wasn't flawless throughout all 10 episodes. But for the most part, overall, I think he did a pretty good job. We had Jamie Chung voicing Harley Quinn, Christina Ricci voicing Selena Kyle, a.k.a. Catwoman. We also had Crystal Joy Brown as Barbara Gordon, Minnie Driver as Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin. Yes, they gender swapped Penguin. And I don't care. I saw the internet getting a little titsy about that, but I mean, it didn't hurt the character. That character was still the Penguin. I don't understand what people were upset. This was the same character. It just so happened to have breasts. Who cares? Honestly, who cares? But this voice cast was pretty spot on. I enjoyed them for the most part. Like I said, Hamish was a little shaky, and when I say shaky in episodes, it wasn't the entire episodes. It was just moments or scenes that character just didn't quite get there with the voice performance. Jamie Chung as Harley Quinn, I didn't. That's the only character I didn't like, and not so much the character, her performance. I didn't really feel her performance. Everybody else did pretty good job. I enjoyed the voice acting here. The tone of this show is the stuff of legends. Or should I say we're we're spoiled when it comes to Batman animated material, because the animated series was so dark in tone and so moody and ominous and all whatever adjective you could think of. It was just perfect for a Batman show. And so doing this show, can it capture that same essence? I would say yes. I would say it really did do a excellent job of capturing the tone of Gotham City. Gotham City was a character within itself. It felt dark and grimy and dirty and nasty with this underbelly of crime and corruption and all that's going on. You felt it. You truly felt like this was a place that you did not just live. You didn't want to live there, but you didn't even want to visit. You know, it's just that bad. And what made it so interesting was how they utilize the supporting cast, how they utilize just the average residents and citizens of Gotham City, just randomly, to see what they're going through and putting them in storylines, not taking up a storyline, but have them interact with our leads and things of that nature. Whereas you can really feel what the people are going through there and the fear that they feel, and it just felt lived in. And while I was watching this show, I'm sitting here like, how can I feel this on an animated show? In some movies, I don't feel that way. It feels so fake in live action in some movies that I watch. And I'm not even talking comic book, I'm just talking movies in general. The world doesn't feel lived in. It feels like a stage. It feels phony and fake. But this show, this animated show, managed to make things feel so real. It is mind-boggling to me. But great job by the showrunner, the writers that's on this show, and the directors of these episodes. It was 10 episodes, 30 minutes each, can blow right by. This was one sitting for me. Of course, I was anticipating this, so I had a lot of motivation behind it. But I think it's an easy watch. It moves fast. It never slows down. Now there are a couple of episodes in here that I question why is this even on this season? They just out of the nowhere episodes. It just felt out of place as to what's going on in this season. Now this season does have a through line. We do have a continuous story that starts at episode 1 and ends in episode 10. And I put ends in quotation, but it really goes throughout the season. But this is really a week to week procedural. This is more of Law and Order. I mean, it had the villain of the week format and everything, but it still kept the core storyline, the main storyline going throughout, and it linked up with every other story that was popping up every week. And I thought that was genius the way they executed it. Look, I enjoyed the show. Is it the greatest thing since sliced bread? No. Is it better or just as good as Batman, the animated series from years ago? No. It's not up there with those. With those, I'm counting the bread, but it's not. It's not up there with that show. But it is a really good show. It does tell the Batman story in a new and unique way, and I do enjoy it for that. Batman, the Caped Crusader, which is currently on Prime Video, nonetheless, which is crazy. Well, let me tell you the story about that real quick before I get a grade. This was initially supposed to be on Max, but Warner Brothers, they decided that they weren't going to put any quote unquote kid shows on Max. So they got rid of all that. That's why Young Justice and all this other stuff, that's why that's not on there no more on that streaming app. And so they sold it off to Prime Video. And Prime Video hurried up and picked it up. and not only purchased the first season, but greenlit a second season, which I am super happy about. Batman Caped Crusader, which is currently on Prime Video, gets a letter grade of a B plus. Really enjoyable watch. Nice to see Batman being a detective. That was fun to watch, and it just brought back a lot of nostalgic energy on this property that I think we needed, because we've seen so many different versions of that character who doesn't use his genius, doesn't use his detective skills, and it hurts the character in the films when they do that. So I never understood why they didn't utilize Batman in that way on the big screen, because it's silly to me. That's why I enjoy the Batman with Robert Pattinson so much, which is odd for me to say because I never would have thought it. But I enjoy that Batman. That's the closest thing to the animated series you're going to get. But this here, Cape Crusader, is right up there with it. Is like I said, it doesn't overtake it, but it's up there with it. But I would love to know, what are your thoughts of Batman Cape Crusader? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you Batmaned out? Are you tired of seeing Batman? You like, man, DC, you got 500 characters. Use pick another one. We're tired of seeing Batman, and I understand. But unfortunately, I love Batman. If every DC a project involves Batman, you have my money. So that's just me. But I can understand if you feel differently. But I would love to know exactly how you feel about this. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of the brand new season, or the new show, Batman Cape Crusader, on Prime Video. Want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.